I've decided to make today a raspberry wine jelly. Just the sound of it, to me, sounds absolutely delicious. So maybe you're wondering, where would I ever use a jelly like this? What use would you have for a jelly like that? So this jelly is absolutely delicious if you put it on like a cracker with a little bit of cheese and a little dollop of the raspberry wine jelly on top. It can be used as a glaze on top of meat. It's absolutely delicious. There's many different uses for it. I always love being able to have things like this jelly. I also make an orange rhubarb chutney. If you haven't seen that, be sure to check out the video. So if I have unexpected company, if I have some guests over, I like to be able to serve them with something. And as long as you have either some bread or some crackers or something like that in your house, some cheese on the side, if you have that, then you've always got something in unexpected cases. And even if it's not an unexpected case, you have something on hand as well that's actually quite good and very impressive, especially when you say that you've made it yourself. There's nothing like serving something, getting rave reviews, and it's something that you made yourself. It's very rewarding. So that's why I'm doing it. It's really simple to make. You only need 1 cup of the raspberries. You need 2.5 cups of a dry white wine, 3.5 cups of sugar, and a liquid pectin, and that's it. Very simple to make. So don't be shy. If you like this content, if you're interested in this video or anything else that I have out there, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you'll be notified when I put out some new content. Hit the like button as well if you like what you see. The first thing that we need to do is we need to juice these berries. So there's different ways that you can juice the berries, that you can extract the juice from the berries. So a simple way is that you can crush them with the wine to extract the juices, or you can use a juicer, which is the way I'm going to do it today. So let's do that. It's a little bit of a crazy looking setup here, but this is my mixer that I absolutely love, if I haven't said that yet. There's lots of things that I love. One is my steam canner, and if I haven't said it yet, I will be steam canning this recipe, or you can water bath can it as well. Both are very acceptable, but the steam canner is just so easy and so simple. My mixer I absolutely love. You can just put things in it to mix and just go get some other ingredients and throw it in, and you don't have to always be standing to hold it. So this I absolutely love. I bought this to attach to it. It's a food mill, and I use this to sometimes juice tomatoes if I want to make like a tomato soup or a tomato sauce, or my pizza sauce. If I want to use that, I need to extract the juice from my tomatoes, so I use my food mill. Same thing as to extract juice from berries or whatnot. You can use a food mill. So you put your fruit in here on top. The juice comes out this end, and out of this end comes the pulp, so that whatever is going to be left over. So the pulp that comes out, I compost it, so it'll be reused inside of my garden. So there's not a whole lot of berries to juice. There's just a cup. Usually works a lot better when it's plugged in. It's not the cleanest, especially when I'm doing tomatoes. I usually have tomatoes just about everywhere in my kitchen when I'm doing this, but it works well. I may have to strain this again if any of the seeds get through, but I'll check that out after. There are 2 different ways to prepare your berries. I decided to use my juicer. I don't think it saved me much time, honestly. I just wanted to try it that way just to see if there were a difference. But really what you can do, and I think it may be even easier, is to crush your berries with your wine and then just put it in a colander with a cheesecloth and just let it drip for about an hour. And the wine is going to help release the juices as well in the berries. And I think that would have been just as easy as setting up all my food mill and running them through the juicer of my food mill. I just had a lot of berries that I was doing. I was making my jelly as well, so I just decided to do it that way. But just crushing them, letting them drip for an hour with the wine, mixed in the wine, is going to work very well also. So once you've got all your ingredients measured out, so your 3.5 cups of sugar, 2.5 cups of wine, your berry juice, and liquid pectin, and that's it. You have all your ingredients. So what we're going to do is combine everything except for the pectin in this pot and bring it to a boil on the stove top. It's as simple as that. It's a really easy recipe to make. This is coming to a nice boil, one that I can't stir down, so I'm going to add my liquid pectin in now, bring it back to a boil, and then boil it hard for 2 minutes. So this is boiling again. I'm going to time this for 2 minutes. You want to make sure that you keep on stirring and keep a really close eye on this, because sometimes it wants to almost boil over. Oh my gosh, this is going to be so pretty. It's turned into such a nice pink rosé color. It's going to be so pretty. Turn off the heat after 2 minutes, and that's it. There's not a lot of foam, but I am going to skim the foam off the top just to be sure. Let's get this jelly into these jars. I went with a much smaller jar. They're only about 1/2 cup, so 125 milliliter jars. It's just that I feel if you buy put this in a large jar, that it may be too much if you open a jar, and I don't want to waste. You want to leave a good 1/4 inch head space when filling your jars. Such a beautiful color, and it smells amazing. I should get somewhere around 8 jars. So I had my jars warming in my steam canner, so I just bring them over when I'm ready, so they're nice and hot. Not quite full enough. Once you've got your jars filled, I find sometimes it's easier to skim it once it's in the jar. There wasn't a whole lot of foam, so I'm just going to take the little bit of foam off the top. So you want to make sure, especially since I was cleaning up some of the foam, that you really wipe the rims of your jars well. You want to make sure that this seals properly, so you want to clean the tops off just with water. If you were using something that had like meat in it or anything of that sort, you would use vinegar, but this is fine cleaning it with just water. Once you've got your rims cleaned off, you're going to take your cap and just center it on top of the bottle. You're going to put your rings on just fingertip tight. You don't want to put them on too tight. And then you transfer your jars over to the canner with your jar lifters, of course. And you continue the process until you've got all your jars filled. I've ended up with 9 jars. I was supposed to have 8. I have 9. That's always great. Maybe my raspberries were just so extra juicy that I ended up with more. So now all I need to do, put the cover on, turn it up, bring it to the appropriate temperature for my altitude. Make sure to always check which altitude you're at and make the appropriate time adjustments. I know that I'm at sea level, so I know that I just need to do the regular processing time. I process this, so I boil this for 10 minutes in my canner, and then I shut the heat off, let it sit for 5 minutes, and then it'll be done. If you're water bath canning, just make sure to have 1 inch of water on top of your jars. Same thing, let it come to a boil, boil it for 10 minutes, and then when it's done, shut the heat off, leave it for 5 minutes, and then it's done. It's the same process, just different methods. So let's get that going. Put the cover on and turn up the heat. And bring this to the appropriate temperature. We're almost done. Those popping noises that you hear are the jars that are actually sealing. I've ended up with 9 beautiful bottles of raspberry wine jelly. It's going to be absolutely delicious. As usual, when you're done processing, you need to leave your jars alone. Don't touch them for 24 hours. Let them settle. Unless you're just too tempted and you want to open up a jar to taste it right away, then that's no problem. Open up that jar, give it a good taste, put it in the fridge. But otherwise, leave them alone for 24 hours. As usual, when the 24 hours are up, make sure to remove your rims. You don't want to leave them there. It could cause a false seal. Also, it's always a good idea to wipe down your jars before you store them. Sometimes they can get a little bit sticky from handling them while you're doing all your stuff. So wipe down your jars before you store them away. They can keep for somewhere around a year, sometimes a little bit more if you can actually wait, and they'll last that long. They're good for at least a year. Always write down on top of your jars what it is that you have inside your jar, because you sometimes forget what you did can if you do a lot of canning, and write down the year as well. So don't be shy as well. If you like my channel, be sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and give it a big thumbs up. I don't know if you've noticed, but I always get really excited when I have some left over. Something that's always nice as well when you have some left over is that you can actually see if it's already set. And as you can see, it's probably going to set really well in my jars because it's already set here in my little bowl of the leftover that I had. So that's always nice to see. But now I have to taste. Really nice. Yep. Not too sweet, a little bit savory with the wine. Absolutely delicious. We'll see you again soon.